Okay, we'll call this meeting to order and would like to invite everyone to enjoy the Bruderheim Town Council on February 3rd, Pink Shirt Day. Would someone from council be willing to read the acknowledgement?
I'll read that in the
Councilor George.
acknowledgement. We acknowledge, oh, I better find my glasses first. Would somebody else mind if I've got to find my glasses?
Yeah, I can
Go
read
ahead,
it.
Councilor Judy.
We acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose first steps have marked these lands for centuries.
Thank you very much, Councilor Judy. So calling this meeting to order, is there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Nothing from administration, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there anything from council that needs to be changed to the agenda? Okay, then we'll get a motion from council to adopt the agenda as presented. Go ahead, Councilor Judy. Councilor Judy, you had your hand up.
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you for that. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the agenda? Okay, we'll call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion to adopt the agenda? And the motion's carried. So this evening, we don't have any delegations, but we do have a proclamation. And Councillor George is proudly wearing his pink shirt today. Good job, Councillor George, you're remembered. So today's proclamation, Pink Shirt Day. Whereas there are many people in Alberta who experience the impact of bullying, and whereas the impact of bullying may be carried on from generation to generation, whereas bullying is not limited to any one age group of social situation, and whereas all Albertans have a role to play in the prevention of bullying and promoting kindness, communities are being encouraged to wear something pink to symbolize that we as a society will not tolerate bullying anywhere. Therefore, I, Carl Hauk, Mayor of the town of Bruderheim, hereby proclaim February 24th, 2021, Pink Shirt Day in the town of Bruderheim, dated the 3rd day of February 2021. And I can sign that off and hand that over to administration tomorrow. Thank you. And number 6, adopt the minutes. We're looking for a motion from council to adopt the minutes as presented.
I can put that forward.
Oh, thank you. Councillor Pat is there. Awesome.
Yes, I move that we adopt the minutes of January 2021 regular meeting of council as presented.
Thank you for that. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the minutes? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion to adopt the minutes?
You're on. You're okay. Yeah.
And the motion's carried. So we can move on to council priorities. First one is 7.1 information request. Councillor Len, do you have any information?
I've been doing a lot of thinking the last little while. I don't believe we should pay our policing bill, period. The provincial government spent 1.5 billion on a pipeline that's not going. There's got another $6 billion in loans on it, and they're getting sued. And I don't believe we should be carrying the load for this government. I honestly believe this council should write a strong letter to the province saying we don't want to be involved in, and we can't afford to pay your policing. I really believe we have to do that, because the way it's going, we'll be paying for everything because they're mismanaging our money so badly now. It's incredible.
So Len, Councillor Len, are you putting forward a notice of motion to have this
I'll
on the
put
next
forward
agenda?
a notice of motion.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Councillor Len?
Nothing at this moment.
Okay. Councillor George.
Nothing at this moment.
Councillor Judy.
Nothing at this moment.
Councillor Wayne.
Nothing at this moment.
Councillor Dan. Or sorry, Deputy Mayor Dan. My apologies.
No worries. I just want to say thank you to administration for the quick, how do I put it? Putting the FCSS notice into our Meteorite Monthly on short notice and getting that on the website quickly. That was much appreciated and probably saved a few bucks for FCSS so they can do all the great things that they do. Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you very
pass
much.
that on. I'll pass that on, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
And next up is Councillor Pat.
I don't know that it's an information, it's just the recognition of February of Black History Month. We didn't note it, note it up anywhere. And it's definitely the month to be marked.
Great. Thanks for that reminder, Councillor Pat.
Mhm. was
Anyone
it.
else? Any information requests? No. Okay. We're looking for program requests now. We'll go in reverse order. Councillor Pat, any program requests?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Dan.
I'm good for now. Thank you.
Councillor Wayne.
No, but just in case you may have not heard, Hockey Alberta has canceled all hockey for the season, so it is full bore canceled for everybody. So
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a sign of the times. Thank you, Councillor Wayne. Councillor Judy.
I have nothing, thanks.
Councillor George.
I just have to bring one thing to a head. I'd like to thank our Public Works Department for the work that they've put in to see that this town has some type of outdoor recreation, and that's in regards to the ODR, our outdoor rink. We have people that figure that area is not well looked after. Well, it's looked after better than some towns because other towns may not have one of them rinks. And we should be thankful for what we got and the services that we get within our town. Kudos to our Public Works Department. And may we respect one another, even it is in the time of COVID. Times are rough, but we don't have to disrespect.
Thank you very much for that reminder, Councillor George. Councillor Len, any information or program requests? Sorry.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Okay. Now we can move on to requests for decisions. 8.1, the amended capital budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Administration would like to provide council with information on the amended 2020 capital budget with a total of $673,562. The town council approved the 2020 amended capital budget as presented. At the December 18, 2019 meeting of council passed the 2020 capital budget with a total of $214,000. At the May 20th, 2020 meeting of council passed the amended 2020 capital budget with a total of $524,000. Amendments to the capital budget included Public Works Facility Addition, $25,000, Water Reservoir Expansion Engineering Study, $200,000, Community Park Trails, $30,000, School Playground contributions were moved to operating, reducing it by $25,000. Annual Sidewalk Replacement Program, an additional $80,000. At the December 16th, 2020 meeting of council passed the amended 2020 capital budget with a total of $659,405. Additions to the capital budget included the addition of a fire hydrant for $14,500, fire training classroom construction. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, that should have been $20,000, not $200,000. Annual sidewalk replacement program, $25,000. Public Works facility addition, $11,905. Strategic plan areas, a balanced budget ensures that the residents continue to provide municipal services. Sustainable infrastructure, ensuring we maintain and plan for future infrastructure upgrades, ensuring that the community remains safe and supports current service levels. Healthy, vibrant communities, self and viable infrastructure is a major contributor to healthy living. Open governance, public presentation of public budget discussions. Legal and Ledge, MJA RSA 2000, Chapter M26, Section 242 to 246. During the community park construction in 2020, the parking lot was completed while the sidewalk contractors were in the community. This decision was made to proceed with the parking lot to reduce mobilization costs in the future. The additional funding required for this project was not captured in the December 18, 2020 capital budget amendment. This additional funding was discovered during our year-end financial procedures. In order to complete the year-end procedures for the additional of the capital assets, council must pass the attached amended capital budget. Upon council approval, administration will make the amended capital budget available for public viewing on the town's website and social media platforms. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Pat. So we're looking for a motion for this would be the first reading, right?
Oh, we just need a
Just the
motion.
one motion, yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor George,
I'll make that motion that town council approves the 2020 amended capital budget as presented this day.
thank you for that. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Not hearing any. I do have one question. On the spreadsheet that was provided, where does the money for the parking lot show up on that spreadsheet?
Mr. Mayor, just let me look here. Community Park, Public Works.
It shows up under other community park trails.
Community Park. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that's it. And it was in our community park reserve account, which was all donations and grants. So there was no money taken from tax dollars.
Okay, so it's 20,400. Perfect. Thank you. Any other? George has a question. Councillor George.
Yes, I see we have taken the $25,000 contribution for the school playground. Is there a system in place to replace that funding for the playground, or are we not going to keep on funding?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, that was in spring of 2020, May, we discussed that. Our auditor suggests we take it out of capital and move it to operating. So we're still funding it with the same funding source. It's just that we don't own it, so we can't put it in capital. It has to be an operating expense.
So it's just a administration move then?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, yes, because we don't own the playground, Elk Island Schools does, so we can't put it on a capital budget item.
Okay, that explains it then.
Thanks for that question, Councillor George. If I understand correctly, when the bill goes to be paid for the playground, that's when the 25,000 actually gets paid out from the town. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, yeah. So in the 2021, we've also put 25,000 in the operating budget, and we're just holding that in trust until the playground gets built, and we'll be supplying 100,000. So 4 years of savings to match the playground committee's fundraising.
Great, thanks.
So we're halfway there.
We are, Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell.
That's awesome.
Kudos.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion for the capital budget amended? Hearing none, the motion is carried, and we move on to the next. 8.2 Municipal Tax Rebate Program.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Administration is looking for direction from Council on the Municipal Property Tax Rebate Program bylaw as it currently exists as bylaw 16-2018, or if Council wishes to continue with bylaw 16-2020 being brought forward at the request of Council in October of 2020. The Town Council give first reading to bylaw 16-2020, a bylaw to provide for municipal property tax rebate program for commercial and industrial properties, or the Town Council rescind the October 21st, 2020 Council Resolution 283-2020 that directs administration to review and bring back to Council municipal property tax rebate bylaw that would provide municipal property tax rebate for commercial and industrial properties only. Council history. The tax-free for three policy, FIN 063, was approved by Council August 19, 2009. There was a revision on May 1st, 2013. This policy rescinded and replaced by bylaw 05, 2018, municipal property tax rebate bylaw on August 15, 2018. On December 17, 2018, Council approved the municipal property tax rebate bylaw 16-2018 and rescinded bylaw 05, 2018. This bylaw has been one that Council brings up during information requests yearly, and administration provides Council with the answers to the specific questions. At the October 7, 2020 regular meeting of Council passed Resolution 243-2020, moved by Councillor Daniel Scoosball, Resolution 243-2020. The Town Council's recommendation to their municipal property tax rebate bylaw and bring information back to Council meeting for consideration carried. At the October 21st, 2020 regular meeting of Council passed the following resolution, moved by Councillor Daniel Scoosball. The Town Council directs administration to review and bring back Council a municipal property tax rebate bylaw that would provide municipal property tax rebate for commercial industrial properties only. At the November 4th, 2020 regular meeting of Council amended the agenda to defer the first reading of bylaw 16/2020 municipal property tax rebate program to a future meeting. Strategic plan areas, communities, educating responsibilities, limitation of council administration. Other impacts, Municipal Government Act RSA 2000, Chapter M26, Section 8, powers under bylaws. It is important to note that municipal property tax rebate applies to improvements only and that the provincial and county taxes still apply. In the discussions with these interested in developing commercial industrial businesses, the incentive to have this tax break while they get their business moving forward has been a consideration in checking to see what Bruderheim can offer. Council requested that this bylaw be revised to encompass commercial industrial properties only, which administration was bringing to council in November as bylaw 16/2020. Council deferred this first reading of the new bylaw to a future meeting. Administration has received comments from a property owner expressing concerns about the changes to the bylaw by excluding new residential builds in this community. The majority of the communities offering this program are following similar guidelines as set out in the existing bylaw 16/2018. Any changes to the existing bylaw will be communicated to those currently on the municipal tax rebate program. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that. So we're looking for a motion from council for this.
I could
Councillor
be
Pat.
the. I move that town council give first reading to bylaw 16/2020, a bylaw to provide for a municipal property tax rebate program for commercial and industrial properties, or the town council rescind the October 21, 2020 council resolution 283/2020 that directs administration to review and bring back to council a municipal property tax rebate bylaw that would provide municipal property tax rebate for commercial and industrial properties only.
Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns? I see Deputy Mayor Dan has his hand up, and then Councillor Pat.
Okay, so first, I'd like to say that I support incentive programs. They obviously make our town more appealing in comparison to other towns. Industry and business is what builds a town. You hear towns that are built around that mill or around that mine. So with that, I'd like to see the incentive continue to bring those industries and businesses to us. On the flip side, it's the people who give the town its identity. Even though, sorry. It's the people that give the town their identity. However, anybody that moves to the town needs to pay their way. They need to haul their own weight. So what I propose is I believe is we rescind this first and foremost. And what I'm proposing is we simply make it a change to the current structure, in that it applies to the owner that builds on that property first and foremost, so that developers, for example, they can't pass this on to somebody buying from them. They can still benefit from it up until that property leaves their hands, but they can no longer pass that on. It prevents us from people moving in, getting this benefit for absolutely nothing. It doesn't hurt our developers. It won't affect our industry and our businesses, and it still makes us appealing. It's a small change that should have a fairly decent impact in what we're trying to accomplish here and saving the town money.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dan. So is that you're looking to amend the motion that was presented?
Again, I'm not too 100% sure whether we rescind it first and then amend, or do I just amend it, Patty?
Well, Mr. Mayor, through Deputy Mayor Scooswell, we would have to rescind that original motion, and then council would have to make a motion to direct administration to draw up that bylaw, because we currently don't have that.
Okay, so the current motion that we have does that rescind that, right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. And then you would have to give us a motion directing us exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I believe there was a number of councillors who had their hand up, Councillor Lan and then Councillor Wayne and Councillor Pat.
After giving this much thought, the growth of this town is people. And we should, industry is not coming here, business is not coming here. Whether the issue is we're getting people here. And I think it's a really good thing if we continue with the municipal portion of that tax rebate. It does attract people to our community and our community does grow. It's not monstrous, it's just, but it does give us the ability to grow a bit. So I truly support keeping the municipal portion in there.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Len. Actually, I think I jumped the gun. Councillor Pat was supposed to be next after Deputy Mayor Dan. So Councillor Pat and then Councillor Wayne.
Okay, just looking over the Schedule B that you provided for us, there's only one industrial business located here that took advantage of this tax rebate program. And at the same time, we had a number of residential family dwellings set up to raise families here. I believe we should continue with the bylaw 16-2018 at this time because the incentive is there for businesses, for homeowners, commercial, industrial, to take advantage of. And we would be remiss in not taking care of our homeowners, the residents that we want to come here and raise families. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that admin took a lot of effort to clarify for some of our residents who did qualify for the tax free for three exactly which portion of the taxes were the tax free for three, so as to prevent confusion, which did exist for some people. So I think all in all, just hanging on to what we have and keeping it in place, it allows for commercial, it allows for industrial, as well as for family dwellings. So I would not change it. To me, 16-2018 is a good bylaw and it should stay in place.
Thank you for that, Councillor Pat. Councillor Wayne.
Just in regards to that, there are some lots in town that are not owned by developers. If this were to get changed, how would that affect those people that want to build houses on empty lots currently that are owned privately? I guess it'd be a question.
If I may, are you referring to my idea?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm just curious how that would.
It wouldn't affect them because again, it would be the primary owner, whoever's building. If you want to come here, build your dream home, you know what? Okay, we're going to give that incentive to you. But if you're coming and buying a developer's house because you're taking advantage of living in Bruderheim, that means you want to live in Bruderheim for everything that Bruderheim has to offer, not just this tax free for three. So you're not going to get to take part in that incentive program. That's kind of how I see that. But again, if you're going to build your dream home on a piece of, and you're the only owner of that, you get it.
So
again,
if you
it's
built
a small change.
If you built on a private lot, you'd get the rebate, but if you built on a developer's lot, you wouldn't. Is that correct?
Not if you built, if you bought from a developer, because the developers own the place up until they sell it. They build them to sell. That is their business.
They build the houses. Yes, what I'm saying, but if you built on an empty lot, you would get that rebate. But if you bought with a developer, you wouldn't, because they're building it for you.
It wouldn't get passed on. Right.
So where's the incentive for the person that's stuck now that can't get an empty lot that has to go through a developer? They wouldn't get that rebate then, correct?
Yes. They would, again, if they're choosing to come to Bruderheim, they're coming to Bruderheim for other reasons. That's not that incentive program. If they're just deciding to buy a pre-built house, I'm using myself as an example.
Yeah.
I found a house, I bought it, I got this incentive program. I was like, oh, hey, cool, bonus. I didn't take it into account at all. It was like, yeah, you get this as well. And I was like, okay, I bought the house for other reasons.
Yeah, no, and I totally understand that. I just fear that there's going to be some repercussions or some upset people when they come here to go to build and they realize, oh, well, I want to build over here, but I want that rebate, but you're not going to give it to me. That may turn them away.
Why not? Again, if they
built with a developer. right?
May I interject just for a moment on this conversation? Thank you, guys. So if we rescind what we have now and then administration would take this away, the suggestion from Deputy Mayor, and bring it back, they're obviously going to do some research to see what's going to fit and be presentable and legally binding, right? Not maybe the exact wording that I'm looking for, CAO Pat, but this would take a little bit of research to come up with what we're actually looking for to present it back to council. Am I right?
Mr. Mayor, if I would, I don't know if you could, if you would just see if there's interest in the majority of council to pursue, then that would be fine. We can go away, and that's why I'm saying we'd have to rescind the motion, and then council would have to make another motion for us to take it back to the drawing table.
Yep.
But if the feeling of council is to leave it alone, then there's no sense wasting administrative time to look at other options, I would suggest.
Absolutely. So then we'll just proceed with a vote once we're done discussion on the original motion and see how that goes, right?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
So Councillor Judy, then back to Councillor Wayne.
Hey, Councillor Mayor, I've had my hand up for a while here.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure if you had your hand up or if you just had your arm there. So apologies. Go ahead, Councillor George.
You know, we're focused on sort of tunnel vision here. We're focused on one market. We're focused on the new housing market here with this tax free for three. But what about the person that comes in here and buys a home that's 20 years old? He's got to do the same thing as what Councillor Dan had said. He's got to pay his taxes, the same amount of taxes as you or I with an older home. I kind of agree with Councillor Dan that if you come into a town and you want to build or buy a ready-made home, you should pay the same taxes on a ready-made home as you would if you bought a 20-year-old home. If you want to give a rebate to the developer, fine and dandy, because that's only short term. But it sort of discourages the person who wants to come in and buy an older home in the house in town here. There is no incentive as far as the tax for it. It's just a bit of thought, but that's my perspective on the 3 for 3. If you're going to give it to one buyer in the community, then it should be a same thing for others.
Thank you, Councillor George. So back to Councillor Judy and then Councillor Wayne.
So question for you, Patty. I'm assuming the person that was concerned with this was our developer. What was his thoughts?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Schuler, that's correct, it was. He's concerned so that he's a developer and he won't be able to attract builders. It's a very competitive market to get builders right now in this time. And so he thinks that that'll just be an extra attraction for builders. So he's very much against us taking this out.
Okay. And so, yeah, so then the next step of going on to sell it. I mean, I know they were using that as a big ploy when they were selling some of those new properties, is that it was tax free for 3. A little bit mixed up with it because they thought they got it new from that day forward, as opposed to maybe just a year because it took 2 years to build or whatever. So yeah, really muddies the water for him then. Yeah.
And Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Schuler, that's why we changed it to a tax rebate program. It's actually not called the tax free for 3 anymore, so that we're really clear with landowners, do the change in title, and they come to the town office and we pull up. Now we have a practice, we pull up exactly how many years of municipal taxes are left on the program. So, and then the residents have to pay everything in advance and then we rebate, right? So that we ensure that all the taxes are being paid.
That's both residential and industrial.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor, yes. Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Wayne, thank you for that, Councillor Judy.
So I'm trying to word it properly. The developer is worried if we pull it, then he won't get people coming in to build or to purchase. What would it be? Because he can't pass it on to anybody, right? So once the builder has it, the developer has it, right? He can't pass the rebate on to anybody, right? Because if he passes it on to a builder, then they're going to get it. But if I wanted to build through them, I should get it as well, right? Does that make sense? What was that?
That's the doorbell at the office, Mr.
Oh.
Mayor. Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Lecco, so our current program is that the developer probably wouldn't be the person that applied for that. It would be the builder because it's only on municipal improvements, right? So you don't get
Okay,
any,
so
yeah. So then the builder would pass that on our current program to the buyer. So if it took 6 months to sell the house, then the buyer would get probably almost the whole 3 years of tax rebate. If it took 2.5 years, the buyer might not get any tax rebate.
but that's the way it is currently, right?
Currently,
Going forward, what's being proposed by Councillor Dan is not that.
no, we'd have to
What-
research how to pass that savings on to the developer. But yeah, it would be. I can't actually comment. I'd have to look into what that possibly could look like. But currently, the developer typically wouldn't benefit from the tax rebate. It would just attract builders because they are going to have to sit on that for a while before it sells while they construct, right? So that would save them paying. So they buy the lot and then they start improving it. Then they wouldn't have to pay taxes, right? So that's an incentive to the builder. And if they have to sit on it for a year or two before it sells, that's an incentive, right, for the builder.
So either way, we're giving the tax rebate to somebody, whether it be a developer, a builder, or a person.
Yeah, and very much
So
so.
it
Maybe this developer has a new model where he'll own the houses. I'm not sure, right? Maybe he's gonna contract out the builder to build the houses, and the developer will remain ownership, which would be different again then, right? So who's ever on title is the one
Yeah.
that would receive the benefit.
So it'd be almost be a moot point then if it takes a year, 2 years to sell it or to build. It's kind of a moot point then, right? Because they're going to get the 3 years tax free regardless, or tax rebate if they takes them 3 years to sell it.
The new resident would not
No,
get anything if it took
the-
3 years to sell.
No, the builder. If the builder built the house, but it took 3 years to sell,
He would
he's
get
still
the
tax rebate.
right,
So
or the developer, whoever owns the property. Yeah.
okay.
But if they rattle off a house in a year, sell it a month later, then we just saved ourselves 2 years and we have a happy family that's paying taxes, just like George, who's been paying them for 50 years.
Amen, brother.
Councillor Len?
I think we're forgetting the purpose. Originally, the purpose was is to attract people, whether you use a builder or build it yourself, you still have to hire a contractor. The whole purpose of this was to attract people to come to Bruderheim and build homes, not for existing homes. It's for people, we want to get more homes in the community, and that was the purpose for this rebate. And I truly believe it should be still there as an incentive to anybody, where you want to bring your own contractor in or buy it from a contractor. It should be there for anybody who's willing to come to a new home in Bruderheim.
Thank you for that, Councillor Len. Any other comments, questions, concerns on this motion? Councillor Judy, and then Councillor Wayne.
Yes, one just last comment that I'd like to make is we didn't have any new homes built. So this is one way of getting more new homes built, because when anybody comes into town, they look for different years of homes for whatever reason. Could be price range, could be style, could be whatever. If we don't have new houses or at least 1 or 2 homes built every year, that doesn't show progression. So I think we probably should just leave it in place, hoping to get people in, making it easy for the builders by all means. That's not a problem. I think that's a good thing, and hopefully it'll help out. It's not a huge, I mean, it's a big number when you look at it, but on the other hand, long term, it's good for the town. So I think we should just leave it.
Thank you, Councillor Judy. Councillor Wayne.
So, and what's proposed here is left, it's leaving it alone, so it's available for everybody. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Lecco, yes. If you rescind the motion, then we just leave everything the way it is.
Okay. Thank you.
So just to be clear, vote no means it stays the way it is.
So, Mr. Mayor, currently we would have to get a motion to rescind. I think maybe that's where you should go first to see the will of council, and then.
Because we have a motion already, right?
Right, but she read both. That might have been a little bit, sorry, Councillor Lee read both. That might have been a little confusing. So
Yeah.
maybe Councillor Lee could just reread that second part of that recommendation. And then if we rescind that, I think Councillor Schools, Deputy Mayor Schoolsbo would be in favor of that, because what he's proposing is different from what the bylaw we presented. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but
No,
is that correct?
that's correct. Yeah, for sure. I'm in favor of rescinding it anyways, for a different idea, something that's a smaller change. It's not taking all of the residential away 110%. It's a smaller change that would hopefully have an impact. That's all.
Okay, so we're going to have the motion read again from Councillor Lee.
I think we, Mr. Mayor, lost Councillor Lee, did we? Sure.
Yeah.
I
If
can
you
read
like,
it.
I
Sherry
can
trying
read
to-
it. Oh, okay.
Okay.
You can read it.
While Councillor Lee is being reconnected, if I may, I'd like to provide a few comments while we're waiting. So what I'd like to say is that this program was brought in during a downturn in the economy to try to stimulate growth in our community. Not only does it bring new residents to our community that volunteer, that bring kids to the school, which is a big issue for our community, it also helps provide support for the businesses in town because there's more people buying things in town. So there's a number of things that it provides. The other flip side of that is the town grows, the amount of dollars that come from higher levels of government is predicated on the amount of citizens in our community, and we attract more growth. We have more citizens, then we can get more dollars from the upper levels of government. And other communities have different programs for incentives. For example, Mundare has their dollar a lot program on their main street. And I appreciate what's been said about paying taxes for a long time in our community, and that they've been supporters of our community and paid their taxes, and totally agree with that statement. Also would like to suggest that to have our community to be sustainable for the long term, I think that there's a cost to that. And if we want to grow our community and not become like some of maybe smaller communities in our county or in other counties, we have to do what we have to do to try to be sustainable for the long term, and growing our community in whatever format helps. I agree with the idea that increasing industrial and commercial businesses in our community helps grow our community. It would be easier for our community to grow in that regard if we had more serviced town land. Unfortunately, we don't, so it makes it a little bit difficult to attract more commercial and industrial growth into our community, and hopefully we can rectify that going forward in the future. So am I saying that I would be in favor of maintaining the tax rebate program? I would probably have to say that yes, I am. If we were going to look to get rid of it altogether, then I would probably like to offer up another option down the roadways, would be a transition period, because it would be fair to a developer who came into our community to grow our community and to build new homes predicated on the support from the town with the tax rebate program. And if we remove that from him, then I would think that a transition period would be appropriate, but that's just my thoughts. And I just wondering if Councillor Lee is back online now.
Okay, I'm back. I just got back on. I didn't hear any of the vote or anything.
Yeah, we haven't voted. We're looking for you to reread the motion on the rescinded portion,
Okay,
because that's what we're voting on, is if we're going to rescind that program or not.
all right. The town council rescind the October 21, 2020 council resolution 283-2020 that directs administration to review and bring back to council a municipal property tax rebate bylaw that would provide municipal property tax rebate for commercial and industrial properties only.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anyone want to have some closing words before we go to vote? They say on the virtual world that you should wait 8 to 10 seconds to make sure that there's no one wanting to say anything. So we're not hearing anything. All those opposed to the motion. So we're opposed to rescinding the program.
So leaving it as is.
Well, there's
Pretty
nobody
much, right?
rescinding.
That's correct. Mr. Mayor, we're just rescinding the motion that Deputy Mayor Scoosball made back in October.
Yep. So is anyone opposed to that motion?
And by rescinding that motion, where are we reverting back to?
So then that would mean that we would be staying status quo. Am I right, CAO Pat?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, unless you wanted to make another motion.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and there's certainly within council's right to make another motion after that. So anyone that is opposed to rescinding the original motion from October. All right, then the motion is passing unanimously. So the motion from October is rescinded.
Sorry to interrupt. Do I need to put forward a notice of motion first before I make a motion?
That would be probably appropriate, and that would give administration the time to research and come back to council with some option with what you're thinking of. Does that make
Right.
sense, CAO Pat?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if the rest of council wants to leave it alone, I'm okay with Deputy Mayor just making a motion right now for administration to bring back a bylaw that the municipal property tax rebate program that yeah, actually we have to make notice of motion. I can't make it. If the rest of council is not going to support that, we've spent a lot of time looking into different things already. So
Yep.
trying to get a feel for that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so maybe just poll the council to see what the will of council is on changing the program, basically, right?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Wayne Councillor Len had his hand up first.
Yeah, I think Patty said it right. There's no sense putting extra work into doing a motion. If the majority of the council does not want to remove the rebate program, we could make that motion now and continue on, and we don't have to have first spend time redoing a motion, redoing it all. I think it's best right now. I get the feeling that the majority of council is pro the rebate.
So, Mr. Mayor, maybe we could just have one of the councillors make that motion, that town council leave bylaw 16-2020 bylaw to provide for municipal property tax rebate program for commercial and industrial properties. And then that could either get defeated or accepted. And then if it's defeated, then maybe Deputy Mayor Scoosball could make a notice of motion. That would work for us.
Okay, Councillor George, you had your hand up first. Are you making that motion?
No, I'm gonna.
Okay,
comment.
can you just hold your comment until we make the motion? Councillor Lee had her hand up. I believe she was wanting to make that motion.
Okay, I move that council stay with the bylaw 16/2018 as it stands with no revisions or changes at this time.
That's good, Mr. Mayor. Yep.
Thank you for that motion. Now, Councillor George, you wanted to comment?
That was the comment I was going to make.
That was a motion that Councillor Lee made. I thought you wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, well, that's a comment I was going to make before. But anyway, it's okay.
So do you have a comment for the motion then?
Nope.
Okay. Anyone else commenting on the motion by Councillor Lee? Okay, and we'll call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion? We have one opposed. And the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Democracy is messy sometimes, but it works, I guess. Thank you, everyone. So now we move on to 8.3. Is that right? Bylaw 02-2021.
Correct, Mr. Mayor. Administration would like to present the amended 2021 user fees and charges for council for consideration. The town council gives first reading to bylaw 02-2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021. The town council gives second reading to bylaw 02-2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021. The town council gave unanimous consent to proceed to third reading of bylaw 02/2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021. The town council give third and final reading for bylaw 02/2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021. User fees are a critical element of municipalities' revenue source. Together with government transfers and property taxation, they represent a portion of the town's revenue stream. The fees and charges bylaw establishes rates, fees, and charges payable for municipal services provided by the town. Administration reviews the fees and charges annually. The 2021 user fees and charges have had a significant rewrite, which included the way we calculate utility billings. When administration worked with our financial software to apply the new schedule, we encountered some administrative errors. There were also administrative updates completed to enhance transparency and reflect current operational practices. There are 2 charges that were adjusted as well. They are as follows. Transportation, manpower rate was changed to 25% instead of plus benefits. As every employee's benefits are different, this was an inefficient way to calculate costs. As well, we need to consider training, professional fees, and tech equipment for staff. The second financial change was utility fees. The sewer rate consumption charge was lowered from $2.44 per cubic meter to $1.55 per cubic meter. With the user fees and charges, this rate had significant impact on consumers of over 20 cubic meters per month. Administration will continue to monitor the new utility fee system and make adjustments as statistical information can be gathered on consumption patterns. The third and final reading of bylaw 18/2021 user fees was passed on December 16, 2020. Strategic areas. The fees and charges bylaw ensures us that not only the residents of the town, but customers of the town are also contributing to the cost to provide town services. We continue to develop and plan for the future needs of the community. And we continue to enhance and create opportunities to deliver services fairly to all residents. Ensure that community is aware of the fees and charges for services offered by the town. Other impacts, MGA Chapter M26, Section 8, powers upon bylaws, allows council to pass a bylaw for the establishment and collection of fees for services provided by the town. This past year, administration focused on updating user fees and charges for users for open and transparent billing. All adjustments to the 2021 user fee and charges are highlighted in yellow in the attachment. Upon final reading, the bylaw will be placed on the town website and advertised on social media accounts. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
I move the council gives first reading the bylaw 022021 bylaw to amend the fees charges for 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I think you're muted. We can't hear you.
Apologies. Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks for catching that. So we accept that motion. Thank you, Councillor Len. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the motion that Councillor Len read for the first reading?
I have a question.
Councillor Pat?
Yes, are these to become effective February 3rd or January 1st, as you have stated on the bylaw 02-2021?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Lee, February 3rd, and then we would, they were in the January, they were adjusted in the January. We'll be looking for a motion after this passes to adjust the rate for January for the sewer rate.
Okay, so it'll reflect
Separate
on
motion.
the, okay, it'll be the 3rd of February, right?
This particular motion, yes, Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Lee.
Okay,
We can't
Yeah, just-
retro a bylaw, so.
no, you can't,
Yeah.
and get refunds.
Thank you for that. Any other
Okay.
questions, comments, concerns with the first motion? Okay, then we'll call for a vote. All those opposed to the motion? And the motion's carried. So now we're looking for a motion from council for the second reading to this bylaw. Councillor Wayne?
That town council gives second reading to bylaw 02-2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021.
Thank you for that motion, Councillor Wayne. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the motion for the second reading? So to be totally clear, it's just mainly the sewer charges is really what's changing here, right?
Mr. Mayor, yes, and some administrative wording. As you've noticed, we just, the way the MuniWare system, our financial reporting system, doesn't allow, only allows so many characters. So we're trying to match everything up. We had to do some of those changes.
Right, and the sewer charges was a realization afterwards to adjust it to a more realistic number. Is that the idea?
Well, Mr. Mayor, actually that number is the right number, 244 per cubic. What we didn't realize is how many of our residents are using over 20 cubes. For people that were using between 6 and 12 cubes a month, they saw very little, $3 to $10 change in their bill. For people, of course, that went over the 20, 30, 40 cubic meters, was a significant impact because obviously it's 100% of your consumption now. So we'll continue to gather statistical information over the coming months. And I would hazard a guess that council will probably see this come before you every quarter as we get a better feel for consumption in our community with the new system.
Thank you for that clarification. Councillor Wayne.
Sorry, what was the consumption rate? 244?
That's correct. And we lowered
now
it
it's
to
to $1.40?
$1.55.
$1.55, yeah. Okay.
Some of the impact to the 40 plus cubes was $150 increase in their bill, which was a lot, right? So what we didn't know is how many people are using over 40 was really high. So
And how does this affect, sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Oh, no, go ahead, Councillor Wayne. That's fine.
I was gonna say, how does this affect the town financially? Does it affect it at all?
absolutely. We need to ensure that our revenues match our expenses. That's why this will be coming back again. And as you know, we also haven't applied the 6 cents a cube increase from the Water Commission. The John Patuque Water Commission also introduced a 6 cents cubic meter increase to water. We haven't implemented that as well because we had too many moving parts. So we're hoping to get 3-4 months of statistical information, and then we'll be able to take another look at it and bring it back to council for consideration. But we do have to make sure that our revenue and expenses match.
And right now at $1.55, it's not, is that correct?
That's correct. Our sewer is down on revenue right now, but I'm not worried. We'll figure this out. As consumption rates change, everything's change, our expenses will go down. If people consume less water, then our expenses will go down and then our rates could be fine, right? It's all on consumption, what we pay for, and the stress on our system. So,
And all those numbers will come back to us in a couple
I
months'
would,
time.
yeah, I'm thinking that we need to do 3 months for sure. And now we're reading every month, which will really help with Mr. Thomashat and myself figuring out projections and what use will be. And then of course, we're going to have to go through the summer months. And of course, we're in a pandemic, so more people are home than usual. So I would assume that water consumption's up. So lots of moving parts to ensure that we're covering our expenses, but we'll do our very best and to reduce the impact.
Yeah. And just one more quick question in regards to this. With being read every month, is this a big task on the staff? Because not all the meters are
Installed
up
yet?
to date, installed yet. Yeah. Is it a big task for them to do it every month? Is there going to be any concerns going forward at all?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Lecco, absolutely none. We're moving pretty, Mr. Thomashat's crew's installing a lot of meters and we're expecting it will be done by spring. And
Awesome.
I think the last read took about 2 days. Mr. Thomashat can say if that's wrong, but it's taking about 2 days to do the reads with the old system. And what's really saving too is on the administrative side. It's downloading a lot faster now with this new system and the new software. And yeah, there was a lot of moving parts in January. So I will be able to give a better report to council next month. I intend to report every month, and just to give you a heads up on how we're doing and what the numbers look like. And so challenging for sure when you change the way we calculate expenses and revenue.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anybody else with thoughts, questions, concerns, comments on the motion? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard today in Port Saskatchewan's city state address that they're going through the same change that we are right now with the water billing and reading actuals for everyone, right?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Mr. Mayor, if you can imagine how challenging it is to convert our small community, I can't imagine the cost to convert. All the technology is changing as in every field. And so to convert a large city, I know our town of 5,000 that I live in, it took about 3 years to convert over just the sheer cost of it, right? So we're very fortunate that we were able to get this done this year. So
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? And if not, call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the second reading motion? And the motion's carried. So now we would be looking for council's consent to proceed to the third reading. So I'll just poll council, Councillor Len, you're okay to go to the third reading?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm okay.
Councillor George,
Yes,
Councillor Judy,
Yes,
okay. Councillor Dan,
Yes, sir.
Councillor Wayne,
Yep.
and Councillor Lee.
Yep. Mhm,
Okay,
for
great.
sure.
I'm willing to also give consent. I'm just curious, it is just to get this moving quicker that we need to do it today, the three readings. That's the thinking, is to get this rectified as soon as possible. Is that why we're doing all
Mr.
three?
Mayor, yeah, we want to make sure that I would like to counsel, if this was to pass in three readings, to then to make another motion to retroactive the sewer rate back to January 1st.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any comments, questions? Oh no, I need the motion for the third reading from someone on council. Councillor George.
I make a motion that council give unanimous consent to proceed to third reading of bylaw 2021 to 2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021.
Oh, you're muted, Mr. Mayor.
You muted it. Yep.
Yeah, apologies for that. So any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Councillor Wayne?
So this is being retro back to January 1st? Even
Mr. Mayor,
though-
through Council Elecko, I'll be asking council to give that motion, yes, after this passes.
So would it go to January 1st or would it go to December 21st when the last bill was read
No,
prior to?
Mr. Mayor,
So how
Council
do you identify that time frame exactly, January 1st? Does that make, or am I misplacing
Mayor.
words here?
Mr. Mayor, that would be the current bill that just went out January 1st. It has nothing to do with 2020's
Okay.
billing. This is the new utility rate system.
So it'll be on this previous bill we just received? Because it's 2 weeks off, right? I'm just trying to think, it's,
Yeah,
Where
Mr.
are we?
Mayor, through Council Elecko, that's correct. It would have been
So-
on the bills that just went out this current rate. Yeah.
so okay, sorry, I get confused. Okay, never mind.
No, it's not confusing. It's very good question. Yeah. So the bills that went out went with the $1.55.
And those will be changed on the next bill, retroactive this last month, this current bill.
The bills that just went out
Yeah.
with the $1.55.
Oh, so the lower rate was
The
already
lower
on.
rate.
Okay, never mind. Got it. I'll
Okay.
shut up now.
I'm trusting that council trusts me.
No, I'm sorry. I had the numbers backwards. Never mind. All good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
shut up.
No problem. That's good to have
It's a
the
good
conversation.
question. It's a good
Yep.
question.
All good. Any other comments, questions, or concerns with the motion? And call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion? And the motion's carried. So now we'll look for third and final reading for bylaw 02-2021. Councillor Judy.
the town council give third and final reading to bylaw 02-2021, a bylaw to amend the fees and charges for 2021.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns with the third and final reading? Okay, call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion for the third and final reading for bylaw 02-2021? Hearing none, the motion is carried, and now we move on to the next motion for the sewer charges.
Yeah,
we
Mr.
did-
Mayor, if I could ask that town council consider directing administration to retroactively charge $1.55 per cubic meter for the sewer rate effective January 1st, 2021.
Okay, would someone be willing to make that motion from council? Councillor Lee.
Okay. I move the town council direct administration to charge the $1.55 rate retro to January 1st, 2021.
Perfect, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lee. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Okay, we'll call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion for the retro on the sewer rate? And the motion's carried. Now we move on to council committee reports, 9.1. We're looking for a motion to receive the council committee reports as information. Councillor Len,
I make a motion that council receive the council committee reports as information.
thank you for that. Councillor Len, any comments, questions, or concerns from council with that motion? Okay. Anyone opposed to the motion? And the motion's carried. So now we're looking for the mayor report motion to receive as information. Someone be willing to make that motion? Thank you, Councillor Judy.
I make a motion that we accept receive the mayor's report as information.
Thank you for that. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? I just wanted to make a notice that in the a report for the mayor, I mentioned about the state of the city address. I was going to listen to that at lunchtime at work today. I couldn't. When I got home from work, I watched it on YouTube. So it's available for anybody to watch on YouTube if you wanted to. And it was interesting. There's some good information in there. Mayor Gale did a good job presenting the state of the city address. And the other thing I wanted to include is I had gotten a message yesterday from the Marching Koalas from Australia. Their director, John Gill, was retiring, and they wanted me to send a video of congratulations to them to include in a montage when they do their ceremony for John Gill. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but so I made up a small, short 20-second video on my phone. That's all they wanted, and just congratulating John and thanking them again for coming to our community. That was kind of fun. So that's all that I have for any information that was not included in my mayor report. So call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion for the mayor report? And the motion's carried. So now we're looking for a motion for the CAO report to receive as information. Councillor Pat.
I move that council receive the chief administrative officer report as information.
Thank you for that, Councillor Pat. Any comments, questions for our CAO, Councillor Wayne? Go ahead, Councillor Wayne.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I was going to ask, not that I want to know, how's the arena going? Is there still ice in there? Can we still use it? Or do we have to go ice fishing now?
Mr. Mayor, I think I see Mr. Thomas Schatz on. I'll let him give an update on how that's going for the first time ever taking ice out when it's 30 below.
Mr. Mayor, through the councillor Letko, it's going. It's a work in progress. The bond hasn't let go between the ice and the concrete yet. We did start removing some of the ice on Monday, and we just sort of stopped. It was just too cold, too hard on the equipment. And I really don't want to turn the heat floor pump on to start melting it out. That's just an extra cost we don't need to incur. There's no rush here. Yes, part of the ice is out, and no, the rink can't be used anymore.
So what you're saying is you could have just turned off the plant and saved the money and left the ice in there for another month or two? We should be okay?
Once we get a little warmer, yeah, right. Hopefully we start warming up. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
All right. Thank you. And the furnace or the heater at the fire hall, is that a town expense or is that a county?
So, Mr. Mayor, through Council Letko, the lease agreement says that the town is responsible for all repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Any other? Oh, Deputy Mayor Dan.
I noticed here that the chip bins have been refilled once in this period. Those chip bin boxes, how many of those do we have around town?
Mr. Mayor, through Deputy Mayor Scoosball, I'll let Mr. Thomas Schatz address that.
Mr. Mayor, through the Deputy Scoosball, there are 5 that are currently throughout town. There was only 3 a few years ago, and we purchased a couple of more, which we found they are heavily used. So I think total this year, we've probably filled them up, I have to say about 6 or 7 times now. So they are being used, which is good, and they're not being abused. I've been driving around. People are using them for what they were designed for and to be used for.
Awesome. I had a bunch of people asking and wondering where they all were. I know there's one by Westwood Lands, one by the arena, at least one over in Brookside.
One over in the seniors at the seniors drop-in center.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So that's 4.
Oh, did you say West Woodlands?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So West Woodlands, 50 Sunset.
Right. The one that goes into Sunset, right? Yeah.
That's your 5th
At
one.
the back alley there. Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Councillor Wayne.
Did we get a new public works shop or is that the roof?
Yeah, I was going
Says
to ask that
the,
question.
The
as well.
replacement of the public works shop is completed. What's Dennis buying?
You stole
Didn't
my
buy anything
thunder.
this time. It is supposed to be the roof, Mr.
Roof?
Councillor Rocco. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure he wouldn't be opposed to a new shop. So if you're in the giving mood this evening.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from council on the CAO report? I noticed that we're saving some money on the service on the equipment for the arena.
Mr. Mayor,
good
are you
news.
referring to the ice plant?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice surprise, Mr. Mayor. We actually didn't have that many hours on the plant, so saved a few extra dollars that we weren't planning on.
Yeah. Do we know roughly what that amount was?
Mr. Mayor, I'll let Mr. Tomashet address that.
Just a little under $1,000, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for that. And stemming from the question about the bins for the sidewalks, I'm just wondering, would it be possible to just do a quick little map of the town and highlight where those bins are and put that on the website so the folks know where they are? Because it sounds like hearing from Deputy Mayor, not a lot of people actually know where they are.
Mr. Mayor, I'll double check that. We used to have it on there, but we are in the middle of transitioning websites this year. So I will, if it's not there, I will get it back up.
Okay, thank you. And also wanted to thank administration for taking a look at the website for the council information to update that and refresh it, and appreciate that. And I just want to remind council to get your information into Jill so that she can complete that. I think she put the deadline of like the 19th of February, if I'm not mistaken. And Councillor George has a question.
I've noticed you've been in conference with hemp plant. Is there any updates or anything happening there?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, I think you were asking me if we have any updates on the Canadian Rockies?
Yes.
Nothing new except the press release that I believe Mrs. Cote sent out that their financing is all in place and they're currently still targeting middle of February to resume construction of the main building. With the weather and stuff, we haven't touched base with them in the last week or so, but I will, if I don't see any action by mid-February, I'll touch base with them again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions, or concerns for CAO Patty or Dennis? No. Okay, call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion to accept the CAO report as information? And the motion's carried. So now we need a motion to go out of the public session. And does council want a comfort break before we go into closed session, or just keep plowing ahead?
Keep going.
Keep going.
Okay, so would someone be willing to make the motion to go out of the public session? Councillor Wayne?
Make a motion to leave public session.
Thank you, Councillor Wayne. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Okay, haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in opposed to the motion to go out of the public session? And the motion's carried. So now we need a motion to go into the closed session. And we just have to make sure we're reading out the municipal government information on the agenda there. George, go ahead. Councillor George.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session, Article 110 of the Municipal Government Act, RSA 200, Chapter M25. FOIP Section 21, harmful to governmental relations.
Okay, I think that motion is acceptable, eh, CAO Pat?
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor George. Any comments, questions, or concerns with motion to go in the closed session? Councillor Len.
Yeah, I've been thinking about these closed sessions. I spent 18 years on council previously, and I believe we only had in 18 years, probably 10 to 12 closed sessions. I think we're using the close. I can understand if it's with personnel or interaction with outside businesses. But other than that, I think there should be all public stuff. And we are going far too many closed sessions. And I remember the government people and our legal people telling us to limit them, let's try minimum amount of them and keep the time down and keep that discussion direct. And I think we've lost that. I truly believe that we're going far too, if there's just an issue, we should have the people in the community hear it. I don't think we should be behind closed doors all the time.
Thank you for that information. CEO Pat, I was just looking for a reminder on what the requirements are for the FOIP regulations on closed sessions. Just a refresher for council.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I didn't bring my FOIP binder home with me, but we are, this is harmful to intergovernmental relations if it was to go public. So we're well within our legal rights to be discussing this in closed session.
Yeah, and I would just like to add to that. Thank you, CAO Pat, that it's a different day and age than councils in the past, and the rules are quite a bit different. And the FOIP regulations have become a lot more, just have become a lot more in a part of our world, and this is something that we have to live with, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were talking particularly about this one, but
Nope.
yes, because of liability, I'm sure that if everybody caught the news this evening, the federal government, there was about the picture taking and people not knowing. And as you know, we can't take pictures of school children anymore. It's all become a world of privacy. And that's why that commission, Freedom of Information, was established. And as more and more things get shared on social media, and the speed of information traveling these days, the more information that we have to be careful to release to public.
Great, thank you for that. So a call for a vote then. Anyone opposed to the motion to go into the closed session?
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry. Oh,
I had my hand up.
Sure,
All
sorry.
I wanted to do, just a small amendment to the motion. It was chapter M26. Just don't know if that's going to matter at all, but chapter M26, not M25. That's all.
Yeah, that's why I asked, was the motion okay? So thanks for that.
Oh,
Deputy
gotcha.
Mayor.
Okay, didn't catch that. Sorry.
No worries. It's all good. So is there any other comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Okay, call for a vote. Anyone opposed to the motion to go into closed session? And the motion's carried. Now we're in a closed session.